Okay, folks, we're back, and we have a little bit of a problem. So, as you know, I don't like to edit anything. And we have a small problem that might be beneficial for some of you in case this happens to you with airbrushing. I'm not an airbrush professional. If I had been an airbrush professional, this probably wouldn't have happened. So what I'm getting at is, let's move some stuff out of the way here. So what exactly was it that happened? Well, I was doing my airbrushing, and then I got called in to do dinner. So I got called in to do dinner, and I said, oh, I'll do airbrushing later. I called in and got in to do dinner. Went for a walk, planned some stuff for our trip. Actually been doing that for almost 2 hours. And then I'm going to come back and airbrush later. Not realizing that I still left my airbrush out here, not cleaned, with the nastiest stuff that I use, which is the primer. The primer is the nastiest stuff that I use. So I literally left it here. So it's probably caked in and gooped in on here. The pressure's still at 40 something. But look, it still sprays. That's crazy. That's crazy. There's still some in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run this out. We're going to give this a good rinse and start over. Maybe the cold weather is better for it than the warm one. I don't know. Okay. There wasn't a whole lot in here. What we're going to do is we're going to use some of this airbrush cleaner, which I need to make some more of it. And we're going to use our official Awada scrubby brush and get all of this as much out as I can. I don't know if this is doing much. We might have to call in the hand sanitizer. Pour it out. There's no point pouring it through the airbrush. Okay, and we have that. You show you what is unique about this. The hand sanitizer, the primer, is it almost turns into like the cheese at the top of like a French onion soup or something like that. Now, what do I do with my glove? Let's put the one glove on. Actually, we'll mess with that. We'll mess with that another day. Hi, I'm the only one in this chat. Welcome. How did you even get this chat recommended? I put this thing vertical, and I'm fine with you being here. I do lots of live stuff, and as soon as I do this vertical thing, like tons of people get recommended that I've never seen before come on the channel, which is good. All right, where's the paper towels? I got pretty much a crew that always comes in the mornings and the evenings, and as soon as I do like a live thing vertical, are we doing crafts? We're cleaning up an airbrush. I was doing an airbrush session this afternoon, and I got called in for dinner. And then the girls and I went for a walk, and then we did our travel planning. And the next thing I realized, well, I'm going to go airbrush, and oh shit, I left paint still in it. It's not a big deal. It just, it happens. Life goes on. We're doing crafts? Yeah, I guess so. We're being crafty. I think we're okay. I think that the fact that it's like 50 degrees in here helped. And we might get a little bit of sputtering, but right now we're priming. We've got a few more things to prime in black, and then we're going to come in and then we're going to get crazy. Well, we're going to do a color that's going to look like, what the hell am I smoking? Because we've got our desert paint set here. And I know it's backwards. I can't. There's actually, I looked to see if there was a way to flip it around, and there isn't using this camera. This right here, this desert pink, or what it's called, we're going to paint our Valentine like this one. Let's make sure the primer's working okay. Here at the bottom. It is. Okay. All right, as we were. Let's go ahead and do the turrets on these armored cars. These are Plastic Soldier Company, 1/72nd scale Humber armored cars. And we're going to paint these for Operation Crusader. What's up, Doe Jim? Doe Jim, Jim Doe? I guess Jim Doe would be like if you're like if they find your body. Who's that guy? That's Jim Doe. I wonder why it's called that. Well, we found the John Doe. Like, is that like, why did they pick John Doe? It was the first, maybe that was like the first crime body they ever found at a homicide. Like, all right, we're going to name every single person every unidentified body after this poor guy that nobody could identify. How you doing, man? Happy Saturday evening. I don't know, maybe this works better in the cold weather. Who would have thought? And the only reason I'm even airbrushing this would take the place of like brush painting it. You know, it's just a lot quicker when you're doing these flat surfaces. This primer, if I brush paint it, it's so slick that you'll end up. Seems like it had something to do with an old English law. Excellent. I made you look it up, man. That's good. This is an educational channel. It's whets your appetite for learning new things. I love watching historical movies and stuff like that, and playing historical games. And if none of it makes you not read about the history when you're done, then I consider it a fail. It's always about learning. You can have fun learning. Just like reading. I had somebody a few months ago, I forget who it was telling me they hated reading books. And I'm like, well, I did too, the stuff they assigned me in school, but I love to read. I love to find stuff out. I don't want to find everything out. I just want to find out what I'm interested in. I just replaced my dryer vent and chilling out watching streams. Excellent. Hey, Victor. Happy cold Saturday evening. Airbrush is working fine though. I think I missed some spots here on the lighting is kind of an issue. I need to get more of these LED. It's like these four-way light thing. Six. I guess it's a six-way light thing, and they're really, really bright. But we gotta get this from all angles so we don't miss something. It's not a big deal if you do. Now, nope, we still got two more. We still got two Valentines to do, a couple Valentine turrets, and then the pride and joy here, this 3D vehicle that we had made. We had it designed a few days ago, literally. And it's something that nobody made. They made similar things, but they just didn't make that one. All right, Valentine tank. This is another plastic soldier company offering. Tuned in late. What are you doing up? Well, you actually didn't tune in late, okay? I was doing a painting session, and I got called out for dinner, and I'm like, well, I'll finish it later. And then 3 hours went by because I did other things, and then I realized, oh crap, I got to clean the paint out. I left like live paint in, and I left this primer, which tends to behave really poorly if you don't baby it, and it started back up like no problem at all. So, yeah, I would have gotten it to work. It was just might have taken me some time cleaning the whole thing out. And let's not brag about it until we've won. Are we out? No? Okay. So we're priming a bunch of tanks for the desert, with the exception of this one. They're all for November 1941. They're all going to be British vehicles for Operation Crusader, which is actually the first battle that Rommel lost. The British almost snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. And it's a big seesaw battle in North Africa that is something I'm building some stuff up for. We're not going to do the whole thing. We're just going to do scenarios that involve that. So I just recently on my channel did an unboxing video where I unboxed these tanks and then built them. And unfortunately, it involved many things that didn't go together right. So we did kind of a what you need to do to fix these kind of things video. And that came out about 24 hours ago. And then I decided, well, let's go ahead and paint some of them. So, other than that, just enjoying the weekend. Went out for a walk with the girls, and I'm not a person that's afraid of cold weather, and it was cold. Because our cold here in Florida, northern Florida, penetrates. It's very wet, which also means I like it better. I'm not dying of thirst or getting dehydrated, but it does penetrate. And you know it's cold if I'm wearing long sleeves, because I'm the first person to get hot. Bam. But every time I airbrush, it goes a little better. But I'm not an airbrush guy. I said that before. I just do some airbrushing. But yeah, this is late for me. I'm up at like 5 something in the morning, and I'm still going to be up at 5 something in the morning. I'd like for this paint to set overnight so it adheres well before we go and start doing washes in the morning. And the airbrush is running a lot right now because we're running this in really high PSI, so that this thickish paint doesn't stick. Because I don't like to thin this primer. It's not a true water-based paint. This over a little bit. Trying to get this from the lights from different angles so that we can see if we've missed a spot. Oh, we're out. It doesn't work. It doesn't work without paint. Or I should say, it works better with paint. You make less of a mess without paint, though, or without primer. Just really light. We don't need to cover this super heavy. I pretty much haven't left the house today, just as I like to call, enjoying the mortgage. You got to pay the mortgage anyways. You might as well be at home enjoying it. If you spray this on too thick, it gets glossy. And if it gets glossy, it's kind of hard to tell what you've sprayed and what you haven't. Good. All right, what do we got left? Oh, we got another bottle, bottom of the bottle cap. Certainly got more bottle caps. I mean, I go through soda like it's going out of style, at least while I'm working on my hobbies. It's pretty cold right now, at least for some of these things. There's two. Well, I need three more. Let's see if I got 3 more bottle caps. We could just trade off of these. Got this one that I'm using. was saying earlier, it's a good idea to go ahead and try to get to the places with the airbrush that are difficult to get to first. You paint what's easy, then you have to try to get paint in places that it's difficult to reach, and you end up overspraying the areas that are really easy to get to, and putting too much on it. You just got to fight that impulse to do the easy stuff first. I know it's hard to do because that's kind of how I operate as well. I really like that. I really like getting a better view of what I was doing. Trying not to miss all the hard to reach spots. Yeah. There might be some buildup in there. It went from like nothing to like, whoa, too much. And that's understandable considering I let this thing sit with paint it for about 4 hours. Unintentionally. Now these other ones, we can just use these clips because the stuff that's been clipped has been here a while. Let's clip these on here. Funny, today feels like Sunday evening, but no, it's not. I got a styrofoam container back here that these things, you could stick them into it. Works really, really well. So I got separate turrets here for if we want to make these into Valentine Mark IIIs. Okay, well that one's done. So where does that leave us? Well, let's leave us with this 3D printed vehicle. It's over here, the A13 Mark IV-A. By Iron Horse Collectibles. And this Stewart has been painted for a while, so we'll take it down. And we'll use its clip for the, ooh, that's gonna have to get creative on that one. For this one right here. We'll clip this on the inside. And what else has been sitting here for a while? It's Valentine, Mark II Valentine hull. Oh, yeah, we don't need that. That's actually, we're okay with that for now. What we need is one of these turrets. And I painted this, even though we're gonna spray that one soon, but that Humber turret's been there a while. So let's go ahead and create another little ball of this stuff. This stuff is great, man. This white tack, blue tack sometimes it's called. Of course, blue tack's usually this color. This just happens to be called white tack. So putting posters up on walls, it's great, great material to have around. Has 1,001 uses. And it's damn near free. So the last thing we're going to prime is this A13 from Iron Horse Collectibles. And then we'll go and actually do some paint. you want to get really good coverage, combine airbrushing this with hand painting it. So airbrush it first, and wherever you miss, hand paint this stuff. Whatever you've missed with the airbrush, more than likely is a nook or a cranny. It's going to be able to absorb that paint really well. And now we've run out. And it's a shame because I don't have that much left. Dries. And then we'll get down the business end of the tank here, the turret. And then we're going to clean this out, and we're going to go back. We're going to use real paint. Now this compressor is running full bore on here the whole time, almost like it doesn't have a tank. But that's just because the PSI on this is so high. Okay, so that can dry. So, once that's done, it's kind of hard to tell with the glare what's exactly going on. So, let's go ahead and pour out the rest of this. We're going to go ahead and close the primer. We're done with the primer for tonight. We're done! Where is the... Oh, there it is, over here. And we'll go ahead and scrub this out. Oh, we're gonna fumble things out here too. And instead of running this thing through the airbrush, we're just going to pour it out. And certainly I have. I'm gonna move this over here until we get this thing clean. We don't need this whole piece. Just enough here to get all the bits here out of the way. Okay, that's pretty clean in there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and at this point de-wrench this thing. Just because you can tighten it by hand, it's not good enough. You're going to have bubble issues. And we pull that off. Back this out. Put that there. Push the needle out the front. Okay. Let's clean this off. And I like to use hand sanitizer here a little bit for good measure. It eats up all this paint. All this acrylic paint. I'm going to set that one off to the side. Because we're going to go back in, we're going to use the other airbrush, a needle, the other airbrush needle. Got one little piece down here. Let's eliminate that. Dogs 2 neighborhoods over are going. All right. Let's make sure we can see daylight through this. That way we know it's clean. Yes, we can. Okay. And that was this needle. So now we're going to use the one that came with the airbrush. It's a 0.35. Plenty good. Screw this on. So we're using, let's say, a needle that gives you that has a finer point. Because basically the paint's got to go around the needle. So you got an opening, the needle goes through it. The bigger that needle is, when you pull back, the more paint it allows to go through it. So thicker paint, or paint that is more of a problem, works better with a larger opening. Okay, that's the airbrush cleaner. We should be good to go. Now, here's the catch. We got a couple different colors to do, including desert pink. Now, in my experience, Ammo MIG paint, this is supposed to be for airbrush and hand paint. When you hand paint this, it sucks. When you airbrush it, it's great because you don't even have to thin it down. So this is the light stone color that we're doing. And this would be Portland stone if we're doing any of that. But before we do that, we have this Valentine tank. That we want to paint in desert pink. It's just called desert pink. It should be called desert pinkish. See here, it looks like, holy, what in the neon hell, right? But if you look at the back, this is what it looks like. So the process is we're going to paint it overall in desert pink. Not completely, but we're going to leave some areas shaded. Then we're going to give it a brown wash, a dark brown wash in the morning. We're going to let that dry. No, incorrect. We're going to paint it desert pink where it goes. Then we're going to put this camouflage paint, and we're going to hand paint that. Then we'll give it a brown wash. Then we'll come in with those two colors and kind of dry brush over them so that the brown wash isn't everywhere. And then we'll highlight and weather and stuff like that based on that. And that gives me the look that I'm looking for. It may not be your cup of tea, but it is mine. Now, these two companies have a common ancestor. Ammo MIG and AK or whatever. The MIG guy used to work for AK, and they split ways, and you can read about it on the internet. It's a whole lot of drama. These, you can use, supposedly you can use both of these paint for both. Okay? These, you can use them right out of the bottle to airbrush. And they're like really thin to paint and really, really thin to dry brush. It's difficult. These, you can paint right out of the bottle, and you can dry brush right out of the bottle. You just have to thin them to airbrush. So it's kind of like they're opposites. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take some of these little cups right here. See if I can find one that hasn't been used. Here we go. And I put them stacked so they have some weight. Otherwise, this teeter-totters. It falls all over the place. Let's see if I can get this tilted a little bit so you can see the mad scientry that I'm doing here. And you don't want to just thin it with water because it doesn't work. That's not how it's intended. So it's intended to use its own thinner, which is the AK acrylic thinner. I wish you could just thin it with water, but it doesn't quite work that way. So we're going to get the desert pink out here. And I don't want to airbrush the other green camo because it's a hard camouflage scheme. This is actually a hard camo. It needs to be done with a brush. Alternatively, I can use it with my other stuff and mark it off, but we're going to hand brush it. It's going to be a lot quicker doing it that way. Okay, it's this color right here. It's pinkish, but it's not, pink per se. British Desert Pink Z1. And when I paint this, I've never painted a vehicle in this color. When I paint this, it's going to look like it's going to look like shit. It's going to look like shit. I know without a doubt that that's going to be the case. But here goes. And I'm just going to put it back in these cups so it doesn't tip over. Let's just start off small, and we're going to count how many drops we got. One, oh, well, if you can count the drops. We're going to use that much paint. And we don't want to go over it. Just take an old brush like this one. I wish I hadn't gone over the edge. It's kind of hard to gauge. And then we like to put some on the side and just see what kind of legs it has. And you really want it to have about the same legs as skim milk. So I've been told. Okay, I think we got that about where we want it. Okay, so we're going to put this in here and see now, because it has some weight, it's not going to fall over. Ideally, I'd actually like a piece of wood there I can cut out and I can put that in the middle, and that way it doesn't tilt over and create a mess without me wanting to create a mess. Let's close the lid on that. It's a good habit. Close the lid on this. All right, so now we got our mixture here. We've got this PSI at about 42, which is not where we want it for this paint that's thinned down. So we're going to dial this down. Actually, we're going to hold this down. Okay, you can see that it drops from like 38 to about 35. So while I'm holding it down, let's dial this down to about where we need it to be. Which is going to be about 18 or something like that, 18, 15, something like that. PSI. Okay, now you're not going to, once this gets to the right pressure, it's not going to come on that often. It was running like crazy right now. Okay? And we have a smaller needle, so we should have better control with this than before, because the paint we're running isn't that thick. There's a stool. I knew it was around here somewhere. I wish I had like a really, really, really tall stool. Really, really tall stool. All right, what I'm going to do is, since I've got this paintbrush, it's all crusty and stuff in here, but it's right here. Let's make sure the consistency is still good. We're going to take this with a pipe cleaner, with a pipette, and we're going to suck some of that in, and we're going to place it so it's in the middle. I'm going to do it again. And we'll drop that in there as well so it doesn't tilt over. Now, let's see how the spray pattern is. It might take a little bit for this to come out. Looks pretty good. All right, so what I like to do is, because I am going to fade some areas more than others, but all of it is going to have this color overall. So in order to get that kind of started, I'm going to cover the entire thing with desert pink, a light spray. And it's probably going to look like off-white. We're just going to go back and forth over it. So it almost has like a layer of paint for other paint to adhere to. I think we're out. Yeah, we're out. Okay. we have kind of a thin coat on all of it. All right, well that's drying. Let's move back to the turret and do the same thing with the turret. Okay, so all of this has a dusting of colors. So now I don't have to try to put too much paint in too many areas. So it doesn't look much like Desert Pig, does it? All right, now we're gonna attempt to sit down and see if we can do this. Now what we're going to try to do is get in here. And add boulder paint in some areas. Gently adding some this entire process I'm doing. If I decided not to do it this way and just spray the whole thing desert paint, it'd look okay too. But it's an opportunity to practice trigger control and to add some extra free highlighting. Here's the desert pink. It's not that pinkish. So this is what this glorious desert pink looks like. It's not that pinkish. It'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. I've seen Shermans in this color. It's not a pink elephant, it just has a little bit of a pink hue to it. Now, once we're done with that, which seems like we are, there's not much of it left. I'm going to go ahead and blow this out. I'm actually going to turn the PSI up quite a bit. You want to get this stuff moving. Let's unclip this from here. Move it there. Let's get this stuff moving. We're going to go ahead and use some of this airbrush cleaner, which I need to remember to make some more. And we're going to take this a water brush, semi-stiff bristle brush. Boxcar Pete, welcome. Is it Big Cat Night? I know what you mean by that. No, we're only painting good guys today. We're painting 7th Army stuff. 8th Army, I'm sorry. 7th Army. 7th Armored Division. Yeah, it's all 7th Armored Division. For Operation Crusader, except for this one Valentine that we're doing, that is a Valentine 9 for Tunisia, with the desert pink. Now we're going to switch to more traditional colors. Big Cat Night. Now I do have a King Tiger that is kind of waiting in the wings to get painted, but I'll try to do that before the next model meeting. But that's not going to be. Heck, the next one I go to is not going to be till February. So we'll be out of town for the next one. Okay, so we got the desert pink thing done, which is not that pink. Okay, it's still pink, but we're going to let this, we're going to have to bring it indoors and do the wavy patterns on it. And then wait for that to dry a little bit, and then give it a brown wash, and then come in and dry brush those two colors on top. And then start weathering and black lining and that kind of stuff. This thing's going to look amazing. Okay? But we've got these other vehicles that also need to be painted for the 11th Hussars. And these are definitely going to be, there's some decisions I have to make on some of them, what colors I'm going to make them. But these armored cars are all going to be a base color of light stone, which is the yellower of the two colors. And this is Ammo MiG Sand Yellow 0030. So we're going to move this off to the side. And we should be able to use this stuff straight. Now, I am going to dial this back down now that we blew all this stuff out. And let's dial this to about 20. Maybe a little bit under 20. Because we're already out here, might as well do that. This is going to look really, really yellow. Prairie Knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. I want accounting only so I can gauge if I need a little bit more, how much more to put on there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do a light dusting over the entire vehicle with this color. Okay, so all this has a little bit of this paint, right? Now we're going to come in. Now we're going to come in and get anal. We're going to come in and put a little bit more color on the areas that are highlighted. Areas that would stick out. Luckily, it don't weigh anything. Just something like this. And it drives so darn quick that now you can compare how it really does look like desert pink right next to each other. Okay, they're going to look closer than you think when we're done with it, once they get weathered. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the turret for this. Same thing, but just give it a dusting. And once everything has a dust, here's the turret that goes with this. So one Humber done. That desert pink vehicle is going to look great. I know it may not seem like it. chassis up here. We're doing desert. We've been doing desert for a while. Next year we're going to tackle, well, next year. Today is next year. We're going to do snow at some point. And I've never done snow before. But there's so many great examples of other people doing it that I don't have to reinvent the wheel. Lightstone, yep. What else is going to be in this color? All the armored cars. The 2 Valentine Mark IIs, I think. We'll make both Valentines in this color. I'm getting a lot better at this. I'm getting a lot more comfortable with it. I know what it should look like when I'm done. I know the look that I'm trying to go for. And as long as I can get there, I'm happy. It doesn't have to be the most efficient way to get there, but as long as we get there. I don't want one of my creations to be unhappy with it. That'll make you lose motivation if you're do some other stuff. Like, I'm ready for bed, but I'm like, nope, we're going to do this. We're going to let this paint set, and in the morning we'll give them a wash. Do I ever do models in 1/35th? So that's what I started doing in the early 1990s, and I've given up on it because I want a war game with these. I'm doing these with the possibility of playing games with them, and it'd be cost prohibitive with 1/35th. I was a big Tamiya 1/35 scale fan. I still think they're the gold standard when it comes to instructions. Nobody does instructions as good as Tamiya, period. End of story. Bolt action, nah, it's too basic for me. I play a set of rules that's out of print called the Face of Battle, and it's pretty crunchy. Bolt action is kind of geared towards Warhammer players. Flames of War, kind of the same thing. So I'm a bit of a World War II nut. I need something that's going to give me the level of detail that I'm interested in. There's a million rule sets out there, but I was working on my own, not to sell them or anything, back in the early 90s, and my sidekick was active military, and he wasn't reliable to be around because, you know, not his fault. Actually, it is his fault. He signed up for it. So never really could get it off the ground. And about 2002, I came across this set of rules, and it was really close to what we were trying to do. And it was already done. And I didn't really fool around with it much because didn't have anybody local to play with. And let's get these two Valentines down here. Didn't have really anybody local to play with. And I was trying to, you know, build up forces for it and everything. And then I got sucked into the whole DBA thing for 18 years. I didn't do any World War II stuff. Because this is my jam. This is my period. This Second World War. This is what I've always done. I got a chuckle. About a year ago, I saw somebody that posted on one of the wargaming groups, said they were like 10 years older than me. So they were in their early 60s and they were just playing their first World War II game ever. I'm like, what the hell have you been playing, you know? Been meaning to try a little bit of wargaming. What was that rule set again? It's called the Face of Battle. You can look it up, the Face of Battle war game. There's actually, if you look that up, there's a guy that has I don't remember what his name is. He has a blog, and you'll look for it, and it'll say, if you look at, just do an internet search for the Face of Battle war game, and one of the first 3 or 4 hits will be somebody, the name of the search will say, the Face of Battle, these are the rules that we use. And whoever that person is does an extremely good job of explaining kind of the mechanics of what these rules are. And they're not for everybody. They're not for most people. Everybody's in too big of a hurry for everything. And I'm like, if I'm going to spend this amount of time painting something, I want them to stay on the board for a little while. I want them to have some detail. You know, if I'm going to do all the kind of research that I like to do on all these unit histories and all that kind of stuff, I want these guys to have, you know, some flavor to them, not just throw them out there. Okay, odd even, they're dead, you know. So, you know, so yeah, check them out. The guys does a really good example of them. And I actually filmed a couple of battles. I filmed a tank battle and a couple of infantry battles because I just have a hard time. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to dust this Valentine just overall in this light stone color. And I have a hard time reading rules and then like trying to play what I read. It's almost kind of like you have to figure it out as you go. So, I mean, hell, I haven't played these rules in 20 years or more. And they make sense. There's not a lot of abstraction to them. One figure is one person, and it's actually an actual scale. So you're talking about a figure that's about 1 inch tall. They're throwing grenades about a foot away, 15 inches away, stuff like that. So it's extremely tactical. an inch equals 2 meters in real scale. So it's unlike anything else. It always bugged me when you had a figure that represented one person, and say they're an inch tall or 2 inches tall or what have you, and they can only throw a grenade 4 inches away. I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to use a figure this big and they only throw a grenade that far, then you need to use 15 millimeter buildings. You use buildings that are way out of scale, so that it matches at least the ground scale. It's just a lot easier just to play in like something that resembles 1-to-1. Okay, so we're leaving some dark patches there on purpose. So you don't look at this entire vehicle and it looks like it's uniform the same color. It's going to look weird. It's going to look like you painted it at the depot or something. So we're running this about 20 psi. This paint without thinning it at all. And having pretty good results with it. So this is, here so you can see the difference. But what will end up happening is, this ends up having a lot of weathering that's almost like the same color of it. And this will have the same weathering on it. So this is going to, by the time we're done, will look closer in line with this than it does now. Let's do some on the wheels here. Okay, we have another one like that. As soon as I find it, it's right here in front of me. Could it be any closer? These are going to be for the 8th RTR. Supporting the Kiwis. They supported the Kiwis and heading towards their field at Cedar Rosé. November, December of 1941. And it makes all these look different. No two tanks are the same. There's the turret that goes on one of them. Might as well do the Mark III turrets as well. And we got this one here. And we're going to stop for the evening. We're going to rinse this thing out. Clean the airbrush. Here's the turret for this one. Alright, so all we're going to do is just a little bit of paint in there. Not a whole lot. Yeah, got here an hour and a half. It happens. Almost all of it on my feet too. I'm very tired. I'm gonna blast this way up. You can get get all this stuff out of the way here. Off. Back the needle out a little bit. Put a little bit of hand sanitizer on there. It just eats the paint away, like almost like melts it. Okay, so we're going to turn this off, run this stuff out. We're ready to roll, ready to rock and roll next time we want to do airbrushing. All right, folks, well, thanks for stopping by. We got quite a few things done. Use the base color on them. Got a couple Valentine 2s, Valentine 9 Desert Pink. We got some Humber Mark II Scout cars, and the rest of everything else painted, brush painted. Primered. All right, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by as always. Bye-bye.